everybody. We are here with Emily Van Raay and Sonny Mallhi, two people who have worked on a new film called Pert, and it hits theaters and VOD digital this December 10th. You guys, how are you?
Good. Doing great.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time. Now, Emily, you starred, and Sonny, you wrote and directed. So, Sonny, can you give me an idea of what this film is all about? What is Hurt about?
First of all, I co-wrote with a buddy of mine, Solomon Gray. So
Right. Sorry.
But no, that's good. That it's his first script, so if he would yell at me if I didn't. But
well, where is he? Let's talk to him.
I know. No, he doesn't like. He's pretty shy. And he's real. He's real. But
now that makes me think he's not real. Wait a second.
I know. Well, we'll find out someday. It's another horror movie. Oh, you asked me where the idea came from?
Yeah, well, tell me, pitch the film. What is it?
I visited a friend's, and she's an exec producer on it, Melissa Carbone, and she owned this.
Oh, I know Melissa.
Oh, really? There you go. Like, I went to her Hayride.
Yeah.
A mutual friend, the LA Haunted Hayride, a mutual friend of ours said, "Hey, you want to make a ghost story or something about a hayride?" And I was like, "Not really." But I've never been to a hayride, so they're like, "Just go." And she gave me the tour. She gave me all behind, and she's awesome.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
I came from there just like watching it, and and I've exploited we've sort of we're watching people suffer, or like a representation of people suffer, and I'm not, and it's in horror, and I was watching it, and people were like really into it, and scared, and I was like, there's something. And I'm not trying to point it out. Like, I'm not trying to I hate when you're sort of talking down, because I love horror audiences and I've grown to really appreciate them. But I just wanted us to sort of think about, man, we're getting into watching people sort of suffering, and why is that? I don't want to even because I would research a lot of even some these sort of papers of why we're into horror. And I think it's legit. I mean, I think it's a lot of it's human nature, but there are legitimate reasons. But at the same time, I wanted to sort of explore or just point out, without judging, in real life, it's not fun. These bad things happen to real people.
Well, horror and Halloween, I beg to differ, is quite fun. But the real horrors, that's a bad thing. That's a bad.
But we're watching everything that's sort of based.
Yeah.
And I'm as much, we make movies based on true stories or inspired by true events, and we kind of make a little, not fun of it, but point it out a little bit in this one. But yeah, no, it's interesting, and I'm a fan of horror, obviously. So I'm not. It's sort of it's just something I just wanted to point out. And that's sort of where the idea come from. And then Solomon is the more gruesome person of the group, so he writes all the gruesome stuff.
Well, yeah, definitely should talk to him too, man. But yeah, it's horror is an interesting thing because it's kind of like risk without the consequence. It's being able to just go right to the edge and confront those things but be okay.
It's almost like basic training, and the one thing I took away from it's it's almost like basic training for real life. It's can I sit through that's why people have so much fun. We're like, don't open the door. I would never do that. And you're always judging them.
Yeah.
But it's because in your mind, you have no idea what some people are coming after you. You're going to do the smart thing, but you want to believe you're going to do the smart thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Judge them, and then you kind of come out and you're like that roller coaster, that adrenaline rush, and then you're like, all right, I can handle it. I would do this and that if that happened to me.
So this couple goes to this hayride, and shenanigans ensue thereafter. Let's talk to excuse me, Emily. Tell me about your character, Rose. Who is she? How she plays into the story?
Yeah, so Rose is Rose is married to Tommy. Tommy comes home from being deployed, and he's very different. And so Rose has been alone for a while, and he comes back a completely different person, a completely different husband. And she's trying to figure him out. She's trying to understand where he's at and where they're at in their marriage. And, you know, they love horror. They always loved horror. They were kind of, you know, twisted like that, like as a couple. They really enjoyed horror. So that's something that Rose kind of uses, and it's Halloween, you know, so Rose kind of uses that as a way to bring them back together. Tommy's a little bit reluctant, but yeah, so then we go on this whole journey of like exploring, you know, what horror is to Rose now and what it is to Tommy now, and what it is for all of us, you know, throughout the course of the film, which I think was so interesting because, you know, we watch movies and we look at art so that we can experience catharsis, you know, so that we can experience something. And it's the same thing for horror. You know, we watch horror and we see people in pain, and we experience catharsis through death. You know, it's really important not to leave that out. I feel like it's an important color of life, you know.
Well, yeah, and
It's like all of
survival,
the other
making it
things.
through this
Yeah.
movie or this haunted house, or you know, that it's part of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And so yeah, it was really fun for me to like explore that, and why, you know, go through like you know, our psyches, and like, why do we enjoy horror? That was like the real question, you know, for my character and for the film, I feel like. So it was a lot of fun to explore that, and I learned a lot. It was really cool.
Okay, so we know Sunny is new to the horror world. Yeah, is that fair to say?
Newish. No, no,
Newish.
I produced a few and like directed a couple, and so I'm pretty well versed in horror.
Okay, okay. So Emily, though, are you a horror
Emily.
person or?
I was not before this, and then I like, yeah, and then I grew to like really appreciate it and respect it and like enjoy it. And I think there's something about filming a horror movie that um helps you somewhat like realize that like you can you know, you can get through it, and like, you know, that it's not necessarily real, but like it's important to like experience that catharsis. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm into it now.
Yay, that makes me happy. So you,
Yeah.
so you guys, okay, so Sunny, I mean, my question was going to be like, was this influenced by any particular haunt? But I kind of know the answer now. So what was it like as, I mean, we were talking LA Haunted Hayride, but what was it like going to those haunts, that haunt, or any other haunts you did for research, and what were you picking up and what were you learning?
And so we made the movie. We made the movie in Ottawa, Canada, and so because I've made a couple of movies there before, and so we made it with like friends, and just they happen to have, even though we made it in the summer, they happen to have a couple of hay rides up there as well, and you know, it's just sort, you know, just talking about. Uh, and then when I went to LA, the LA one was super packed, you know, and it
Mhm.
obviously, and it's just um, it's sort of what I mentioned before. It's just like how people. It struck me, and again, I've made, you know, The Strangers, for instance, is like I produced and it was like based on a true story,
Right.
and it's like, and then you get that, and you're in the audiences and you're watching movies, and you're like people, especially horror. I was new to horror. My old boss, this guy Roy Lee, he does all these horror, like The Ring and the
Mhm.
Grudge and everything. And I didn't know about horror before that. I kind of looked down on horror in a lot of ways before that, and I learned to like we made some good ones, so I learned to sort of appreciate what they are. And
Mhm.
so, but I never really, it never just occurred to me, like, you know, just, you know, even in the theater, you're watching it and it's dark, and you know, you don't really get to talk to, you know, each other while, you know, completely while you're making a movie. And then at the hayride, and I've never to be honest with you, I've never been to a haunted house or a hayride because I get scared too easily, and especially
That's the
it's a little
point.
it's a little too it's a little too touchy feely. It's like it's a little too close, um, and but the people how fun and the laughing and the sort of just watching people really be into it. Maybe a little too much sometimes, or maybe I don't know. It came off more than it's ever come off for me in a horror movie or watching a movie with an audience of just like how excited people were.
I'm
Um,
I'm gonna totally confess, I'm in that camp. Like, I live for the haunt season, so
I would be too if I just wasn't like so scared. If I just it would be fun if I just had. I need that little bit of. A lot of it's fun. A lot of it's you can have they're not gonna these crazy clowns are gonna come after you or whatever. And then there's fun music, and then there's always that one chainsaw or something coming out, and you're just yeah, no,
I'm
that's
not afraid of garden tools, but clowns scare the hell out of me.
yeah,
It's the
exactly.
weirdest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, so you said the film was shot in Canada, in Ottawa. And what was the schedule like? How long did it take, and how did the pandemic
No,
affect
we
it?
shot it before the pandemic, so that wasn't an issue. But we shot it like it was a pandemic. We shot it with basically nobody. We shot it with there were 10 people I really like as far as crew from there. And so we're let's just shoot it with them. and so we didn't have half the crew. It doesn't have an AD.
Work
Or
with who
doesn't
you
have,
know,
Yeah, exactly. My producer was who had never been an AD before. Everyone did stuff that they really if they I never did this before, so I didn't have an AD. So I had my producer was doing a schedule, and he worked on tons of movies, but he's never done a schedule before. So
Sure.
he's going on the program, and he's coming to me, and half the time I'm do you really know what you're talking about? Because how are we ahead here? He's and he had this French accent, this guy Steve Beauvais, and he has this thick French Canadian accent, and just so trust me, but we shot it. This is the shortest small movie. We shot it in 14 days.
Wow.
We shot it. We A lot of what helps doing that is and for practical and creative reasons, we shot with one production light
Sure.
and then practicals, and that helps us move around. We shot with just two lenses, so it helps you move around faster. And it was a pretty. It was just a fun experience. Again, just work. It was a lot of running around.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
a job, and it's harder on the actors. The hardest part is on the actors of just. We talked a lot beforehand, but it's just them sort of racing through scenes in their head, sort of the mentally racing through scenes, and doing a great performance is the trickiest part. And so all the actors, that's what let us do it that quickly, because they were able to get into it and pull off these great performances in few amount of takes.
Yeah. Emily, speaking of performances, was it difficult to did your mind ever wander when you were sitting there, getting scared or pretending to be scared? I mean, was your mind ever oh my God, I want some carrots from craft services? Were you or were you just how do you stay focused and surprised the whole time?
Yeah, there was definitely some days. I mean, there was definitely some days where it was the all day stuff that was all day we were shooting the really intense scenes
Mhm.
that the lunch break was hard because you can't really. I had a hard time dropping out of that headspace and coming back in. I preferred to stay in it, all day if I was going to do it all day.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was tough, but yeah, for sure there's moments where you're oh, I really I really just I really just want to eat an egg sandwich and kick it with Andrew, who's plays my husband in the film, or who was so fun and so annoying because I just wanted to crack jokes with him and hang out. But no, it was amazing. Like just being in it all day, you know, it was just what was necessary.
Well, it's the job. So somebody who is finding an appreciation for horror, do you have a favorite yet? Do you have something new you like? Have you seen anything recently aside from this movie called Hurt that I've heard about?
Honestly, I haven't seen anything recently, but it was just Halloween, and like like I'm very into like all of the Halloween festivals now. Like I love like a haunted corn maze is my jam
Oh,
for
those are
sure.
fun. Those are fun.
Haunted corn mazes are like so fun, and I just love the time of year, and I just love like I don't know, I love that like horror feeling. So I try and go like around Halloween to like as many of those as I can.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The crisp air, like some cocoa or cider or coffee or whatever, and just being
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
ooh. Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
It is fun. Sonny, what about you? Is there anything that really
Wait, so the haunted corn maze, those are like you legitimately, those are like mazes, right? Those are like straight up.
not
Yeah,
some
you're literally like trapped in a maze, and people
well,
have chainsaws, and they're like
Those are the
I've
worst.
been to ones where it was like a set path, and I've been to
Mhm.
ones where yes, you could actually get lost. It was a proper maze. So
Yeah, those are the worst. Those I can't. Those I would start hyperventilating and like
yeah, nothing
being
like a
just
good psychological trap
like
to
I'm never gonna get out. I use my mind real. That's why I never was into horror movies growing up. Is I just got real unbelievably like scared. And maybe making them like when I watch something I've worked on. It's you're not as for me. It's, I'm not as scared when you're watching it when you've seen it made. So you're
mm.
just sort of more like analyzing, the scare and the edits and everything like that.
Well, yeah,
So
because you were in
that helps.
control, so
Yeah,
you know
for sure.
what's coming. The
Oh, for
minute you
sure.
lose control, oh, then
No,
it's
if I go into a theater, even in a theater, and if the movie, and there's not, it's hard. Just it has to be really scary. It has to be, but I get completely paranoid. I get like if the usher would like come in, it's like is that guy like is he coming? But I really go like so it's not as fun of an experience. I remember watching Saw as an executive, and it was a screening, and I watched it and it was like on the west side, so nobody went. So I was like watching it by myself, and the first
the,
one, and I
the
was like,
first one was pretty intense.
it was pretty intense, and I
That
just
was
literally,
woo.
I thought the projection, it was just the projectionist in me, and I literally thought the projectionist was going to come, like this is a setup
He was
somehow.
gonna say, "Let's play a game." Um,
Exactly. I would have.
well, okay. Yeah, a quick suggestion then. The Haunting from 1963, Robert Wise. It's black and white, it's G-rated, and it's amazing. So watch The Haunting. It's a great ghost story.
wait, what is G rated again? G is like
G is like
For
anybody can
children.
just sit and
anybody
watch
can
it.
watch. Okay, I was like, it's either anybody can watch or it's like the farthest, like, you know.
Well, like now that the furthest one is like NC-17 or just unrated
Okay,
because why pay them,
right.
So, but anyway, so yeah, The Haunting from
Okay.
1963 is a
Writing it
really
down.
fun horror film, super classy.
I
Robert
think
Wise made, huh?
that's the movie we played when you were initially. I wasn't sure about the rights, but I think that's the movie we played on the TV while
On
she
the
was
TV?
initially watching it.
Oh,
Oh
really?
wow.
I think it's the one. It's not the haunting. I think it's the haunting because we were not sure if it was public domain. It was like potentially public domain, so we played it. But then we're like, we don't want to take a chance here.
Yeah, I don't think that one's public domain.
Yeah, and so,
Night of
but
the
yeah, I
Living
think
Dead is. So
yes, no, that's we use Night of the Living Dead on the marquee
yeah.
in
So
for the theater that they're sitting in front of. But no, it's I think that might be. I have to check that out because
well,
that's fun.
yeah, check it out. It's a solid scary movie.
Just
And
30 seconds over and over again.
and incidentally, it inspired some of the stuff in the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. So
I believe it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it.
Oh,
so
It's like the quintessential haunted house.
oh,
old-fashioned
it's
haunted.
just a good movie.
Yeah.
It's just spooky and creepy, and if you get into it, it'll scare the crap out of you. But if you're just enjoying it, okay, you know. So let's see here. Okay, last question. Were either of you guys able to take home any of those masks as mementos?
I had I gave a mask away to someone, and I regret it completely. But no,
I have the
Yeah.
T-shirt. I have the iconic
Yeah.
like T-shirt
It's
for
pretty
sure.
Because I'm
Like
like not
arcade.
afraid of dolls, but those masks were yucky.
I get those were masks were pretty awesome, and it's almost like I think it's like the same like we sort of shot it in order, and so I think it's that same mask that gets messed up as we go along.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
yeah, no, I remember. Oh, there was a great moment. I remember our art director, whatever, and there was like a moment where the mask gets like cracked or whatever, and we had like 2 masks, and so she was like, and we were like, well, we gotta crack it, and she's like, I don't know how to crack it and not exactly like make sure it's still like the whole thing just doesn't crack in half, and we were just, well, we gotta see what happens. So like just step on it and see what happens. And I remember just that was like the most nervous she was. Like it was like,
Perforate like a
and,
tiny.
I know, but that was a part of it making it feel real. It's like part
Yeah.
of like, what happens to the mask happens to the mask, and the character is going to step on it in the movie. Like, so step on it and we'll figure it out afterwards, or just go make a new mask really quick. But no, that's what it's that. No, I gave away a mask to someone,
Oh, alas.
and like I don't think they appreciate it enough. And so I go back and so I think about I should
I hope they don't see this interview. Maybe I'll cut that bit.
never.
I don't know.
I don't mind. They know it, and I keep thinking about asking for it back.
No, oh, you can't do that. That's
I can do
oh.
it. I can do it. I can do
All
it.
right. Well,
As a
everybody
matter
in the
of fact,
comments.
you just reminded me. As a matter of fact, I am going to ask for it back. I'll ask for it back today. I'll let you know. I'll update you.
Ooh, snap.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll update you.
Okay, cool.
Whether I got it back or not.
I did not mean to
Still
stir
have it.
shit.
But yeah.
So
Excuse me, because like on Strangers, we had these masks.
yeah.
Like I was producing, and I got screwed out of the mask. And then I saw it in our executive's office. He was like, I don't know, I don't have a mask, and I went in and like he just like had it framed. We were like in a class.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to do that.
it's like, dude, but yeah, no, I'm gonna ask for the mask back.
All right.
See what happens.
All right. Let me know how that goes. So everybody, again, Emily, Sonny, really a pleasure talking to you
Thank
guys. Best of luck on the new film Hurt. And Hurt hits theaters and VOD digital on December 10th. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Great. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, you guys.